the landscape here in Atlanta, the jewel of the South, and home to one of the great traditions and symbols in college football. We've had motorcycle Molly, marathon Molly, and today Molly hitching a ride with history.
Here we go on the Ramblin' Wreck. Georgia Tech has one of the oldest traditions in college football. Is this very car, the Ramblin' Wreck, has paraded through campus for every single home game and has led the team out onto the field at Bobby Dodd Stadium for every single game at home since 1961. Now, you can see this crazy atmosphere around me. It's absolutely incredible, and that's the big reason why Georgia Tech is historically so good here at home. I mean, Georgia Tech has won 5 of their last 6 games against Clemson here at Georgia Tech, and their head coach Paul Johnson told me they're seeing this game as an opportunity, saying all the pressure is on Clemson. We're just excited for this game. We're out there to have fun, and we're not afraid of Clemson. We don't fear them. So the Yellowjackets looking to sting the Tigers early, and they're hoping not to become a part of the wreckage. Here we go.
That Ramblin' Wreck is going to need new oil filter and a full tank of gas to take on one of the top teams in the Clemson Tigers today. The Clemson Tigers, one of the greatest shows in all of college football, but today up against the Ramblin' Wreck, and Georgia Tech coming in at 1-2, agitated but motivated for the upset today. In front of a full house, over 50,000 on hand, a sellout, watching Clemson and Georgia Tech. And hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones alongside Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath making another entrance again this week. Dusty, great ball game on tap. When you look at Dabo Swinney, telling us earlier this week that this is the most experienced team that's won a lot of games he's had since he's been at Clemson.
He's got experience, he's got depth, and boy, does he have talent. And no more talent than on that defensive line. The most talented defensive line I've ever watched on tape, and maybe the best position group in all of college football. And they're going to have their hands full today with the #1 rushing offense, that triple option from Georgia Tech. They've had fumble issues and turnover issues. If they can take care of the football, limit possessions, we're in for a heck of a ball game today.
Yeah, this is the type of environment that seems ripe for an upset. Dabo Swinney saying that he has been able to hit the reset button on this year's edition of the Tigers and eradicate any type of entitlement. And this team has been firing on all cylinders so far. 3-0 coming into this one today. Paul Johnson, his counterpart on the other side of the field, feels that his team should be 3-0 right now, that they gave away a couple of games, that they had an opportunity to win the last 2 games against South Florida and Pitt, but for those turnovers, fumbling 6 times in those games. Dusty, there are a lot of orange jerseys throughout all the different Peachtree streets here in Atlanta. We've seen them.
Clemson Nation travels extremely well, especially here to Georgia Tech. And one thing about Georgia Tech, they play very well here at Bobby Dodd. They play very well against these Clemson Tigers, partner. They beat them 5 of the last 6 times here at home.
Well, Clemson won the toss, deferring to the second half. Georgia Tech will receive. And you mentioned the fact that pace will be a very important variable in today's game. Georgia Tech going to do its best to hang on to the football for as long as possible and keep that potent Clemson offense off the field.
A game of keep away. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. Ball control, methodical, long drives.
Mari Jarrett goes back deep for Georgia Tech along with Wanye Thomas. First quarter of the last 3 games between these 2 teams have been nothing short of disastrous for Georgia Tech. Clemson has won 3 consecutive contests against Georgia Tech, and this one will come out first down and 10 for the Ramblin' Wreck at the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for Taquan Marshall. He's completing 47% of his passes. He has had troubles in passing the football this year. But this is an offense, conversely, on the ground that is #1 in rush offense. Almost 400 yards, Dusty, per game.
And Taquan Marshall really knows how to run this triple option, has a great feel for his reads, and when he gets in the open field, he can really make you miss. The one area he has not grown is in the passing game, and Paul Johnson hopes that as this season progresses, Taquan Marshall will get more confidence, more comfort, and be able to deliver the football down the field.
First down and 10. Howard, Lynch, and Searcy, the backs. Marshall on the toss. Got a seam over the left side, and a first down run by Quay Searcy. And a good block from Clinton Lynch, number 22, to lead the way. A 20-yard gain on the first play, Dustin.
Nice job on the perimeter, and you mentioned it, 22, Clinton Lynch. Outstanding block on the perimeter. He gets his guy blocked up, and Quay Searcy finds the perimeter. Nice pickup from Georgia Tech offense.
It'll be interesting to see how this scheme of Georgia Tech impacts those talented defensive linemen you talked about from Clemson. Nice gain again. This time it was Marshall keeping it. Brought down by J.D. Davis. Taquan Marshall picked up 7 on that play. He's the leading rusher for this Georgia Tech squad. Very similar in style to the previous quarterback here, Justin Thomas. Very prolific runner. Once in a while, he'll drop back and try and sting you with a throw. Second down and 4. Marshall keeps it. Broke a couple of tackles and is brought down at about the 41-yard line. Picked up 8. A missed tackle by Farrell that time.
Christian Wilkins with good penetration, but Taquan Marshall with an excellent read. He's going to keep it, outrun the defender, and a nice cut right underneath Cleveland Farrell, who's in good position, but Taquan Marshall just too good in the open field.
First and 10. Opening drive of the ball game for Georgia Tech. Little reverse pivot that time by Marshall. Down to the 25-yard line. A nice gain. Trey Lamar making yet another tackle for Clemson, but an 8-yard gain. And all running plays so far for Georgia Tech.
Taquan Marshall making all the proper reads so far. Clemson defense does not have an answer to this point. Give this Georgia Tech offensive line a lot of credit. They're coming off with extremely low pad leverage, getting off the football on the backside, doing a good job cut blocking, forcing Clemson to play with their hands and play a touch slow.
Marshall again kept it. And this time got about 2 yards on the play. Farrell making the stop. He's run it 6 times for 31 yards, and he gets up a little bit slowly. That's Taquan Marshall coming out of the game. Tobias Oliver in the ball game now, his backup on the first possession, the first series, pardon me, of the game. Right play of the drive, a quick handoff. First man through is Jerry Howard, who's filling in for Gervonta Benson, who was injured a couple of games ago, suffered a knee injury, is done for the season. Marshall on the sidelines being tended to. It looked like they're working on that right leg around the knee. He was already struggling with a toe issue. So here early in the game, first series for Georgia Tech. And we get a look at Tobias Oliver, the backup quarterback.
Unbalanced set here for Georgia Tech.
Toss to the wide side of the field. It's on the ground. Fumble. And Georgia Tech seems to have recovered at the 21-yard line. But a big hit by A.J. Terrell on the play. Fumbles have been an issue. 6 of them so far for Georgia Tech on the season.
It's a toss to the wide side of the field. And the cornerback's going to come up and force it. A.J. Terrell, outstanding job coming up from his cornerback position, lowering the shoulder, getting the ball out. Georgia Tech fortunate partner to get that ball back.
Marshall going to pass it. Sacked. Lost the ball. Fumbled. And Georgia Tech recovered it. Christian Wilkins either ripped it out of Marshall's hands or forced the sack on the hit. And it's 4th down now, and that kind of puts them on the fringes of field goal range.
Well, Christian Wilkins, one of the most dynamic defensive linemen in college football. He's going to get up the field. He's going to penetrate and beat the center one-on-one with a rip. And he gets there. That left hand strips the ball out. Big sack fumble, and he likes it. Little celebration with his partner, Cleveland Farrell. Big-time stop by the Clemson defense. One of the best defensive tackles in college football, Christian Wilkins.
Clemson's going to get the football here after the punt. Presley Harvin with an end-over-end punt that carries into the end zone. And Clemson will start off 1st and 10 after that 36-yard punt. Well, it's not July, but it sure feels hot like it right now on that Georgia Tech sideline. Northeast and West Peachtree, folks. There are 71 streets, Dusty, in Atlanta with Peachtree in the name. That will blow up the GPS on your phone in a minute. Don't get lost on me when we get back to the hotel. On 1st down, Clemson with its first play offensively. Out of the backfield to their leading receiver, Amari Rogers. Kelly Bryant getting the start at quarterback, but, well, they have a two-headed quarterback position right now with the freshman Trevor Lawrence. Polycephaly quarterback. Check out your definition.com app on that one. ETN running it and brought down by Desmond Branch and Victor Alexander.
That's too fast for my vocabulary, Jonesy. But I'll tell you what, it's a 2-quarterback system. Each of these guys get essentially the same amount of reps. Different skill sets, but both extremely effective in this offense.
Bryant with the start fires incomplete. Send it to ETN out of the backfield. The true sophomore dropped it.
Really worked. Travis Etienne's really worked to become a complete back, better in pass protection, a dynamic runner, and he has been catching the ball well, but a drop there on 1st down.
Kelly Bryant right there, the 2-year starter for the Tigers, 15-2 as a starter. Backed up Deshaun Watson for a couple of seasons before taking over. Here looking at 2nd and 10. Out of the backfield complete to the tight end, Mylan Richard. Tackled immediately by Carpenter. There's QB1A. I'm not going to call him number 2, but QB1A, Trevor Lawrence, the highly touted freshman from nearby Cartersville, Georgia. And he has shown a lot of poise with 5 touchdown passes against just 1 interception on the season. We'll see him before the afternoon is done. 3rd and long for the starter, Kelly Bryant. Georgia Tech with a stop on its first defensive series. David Curry with the tackle. He was the first one there.
It's going to be a 4-man rush in 32. David Curry, he's going to be on a delayed blitz, the linebacker, just going to kind of mirror the quarterback. Coming around, it opens up on the stunt with the nose tackle. He gets there first. It's also Kyle Surge, Henderson. Outstanding pass rush on 3rd down to get their defense off the field.
Brad Stewart back deep on his own 31-yard line. Will Spires punting from his 15. And it takes a Tiger bounce out of bounds at the 29-yard line. We'll be back in a minute after that 46-yard punt. Second possession of the ball game for Georgia Tech on its first. They used up 7:46 on the clock and self-destructed at about the 25-yard line of Clemson. 5 minutes to go here in the first. Marshall in the ball game. A bad toss, and they're going to lose a few yards. Out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. Well, Molly has a little bit more on this defensive coordinator facing a challenge.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Brent Venables very animated on the sideline, telling his D-line, stay up. They're coming low. You can't let them slow you down, so he wants them to fight the trenches.
Some of the key words we've heard, Molly and Dusty, assignment football, throughout the whole week in our meetings with Clemson defending it.
Assignment football, eye discipline, and you have to play well with your hands and stay on your feet. A lot of cut blocks with this Georgia Tech offense.
Marshall surveying and nowhere to go, sacked. Back at the 19-yard line, J.D. Davis, the first one to get there. He got the start today for Kendall Joseph, and good pressure from Trey Lamar. 3rd and long coming up for Georgia Tech.
This defense is fired up. They're excited. They're animated. Brent Venables going to bring some pressure, both of his linebackers. And it's J.D. Davis getting the start today. He finds the quarterback and gets him down once again behind the line of scrimmage. 3rd and super long, not a place Georgia Tech can afford to be.
Marshall on the toss. They lose it again. Loose ball. Clemson got it. Touchdown Tigers. Trey Lamar made the hit on the play. And Cleveland Farrell scooped it up for the touchdown.
Clemson plays this option perfect. Certain parts of the option you got to stop. You got to take the dive back initially. You got to be able to take the quarterback, and you got to have an alley player that can play the pitch. Big hit by 57 Trey Lamar, and then it's just a scramble for the football, and Clemson is on top of it. And I can assure you of one thing, Brent Venables, he's loving that. As intense and passionate a coach as you'll find in college football. Had the opportunity to play for him when I was in Oklahoma, and what he's been able to do since he's come to Clemson, he's been able to bring emotion, energy, fantastic players, and week in, week out, one of the best defenses in college football.
The extra point good. Number 3 team in the country leading 7-0 with a scoop and score. That guy needs a get-back coach. I mean, he is hyped. And welcome back, everyone, to a sold-out Bobby Dodd Stadium, but an inauspicious beginning for Georgia Tech, down 7-0 after that fumble recovered for a touchdown for Clemson. Fair catch called at the 2-yard line by Thomas as we're a minute to play here in the first quarter. Marshall hit, broke one tackle and falls across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Bunch of miscues littering the field so far for Georgia Tech.
Ball's been on the ground way too much. Coming in, this is a point of emphasis. Take care of the football. They fumbled the football all throughout the season. It's been no different here today. Fortunately, they got on the first 3, but the last fumble resulted in a Clemson touchdown. Georgia Tech has to take better care of the football for the rest of the afternoon.
2nd and 7. Also on the toss. Got an alley there and a first down run by Mason. And Mason into Clemson territory near the 40-yard line. That time they creased it well, Dusty. 24-yard gain.
When Taquan Marshall, at times when he runs this option, it's a thing of beauty. Taquan Marshall gets exactly what he wants and a fantastic pitch on the perimeter.
24 yards, the longest play of the day for Georgia Tech. That's the end of the first. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. One of the great statues and monuments on campus here at Georgia Tech, the older Rosa Parks at 92, speaking to the younger Rosa Parks at 42, continuing the conversation. A great iconic symbol of the Montgomery bus boycotts and civil rights activists. On the toss, that time strung out well by Clemson defensively. Cottrell with nowhere to go. Nolan Turner, so many great historic things in the city of Atlanta. Martin Luther King Museum nearby campus here as well.
Just driving around campus and around Atlanta. A lot of great monuments. It's a fantastic city here.
It's unique. This
unique.
stadium is really kind of shoehorned in amongst the skyscrapers and the great cosmopolitan area.
Gorgeous setting.
On Peachtree Street somewhere, right?
One of the 71.
Adam Smotherman, his get-back coach, who doesn't get a penalty. Marshall couldn't break that tackle, picked up about 4 on the play. Good tackle by J.D. Davis.
The Venables get-back coach might be the toughest position on the Clemson roster. And I'll tell you what, J.D. Davis is just having an unbelievable day to this point. Get-back coach.
Got his hands on his hips.
Got to. He'd be out there at the numbers if you let him. I mean, like when the ball snapped, he kind of just loses his mind. Like he thinks he's a player again. Did you see Smitherman? He's got to get it. He's getting it full lather by the time the game's over.
I think the get-back coach needs a get-back coach because he's pretty intense too. On the toss into the boundary and stopped after a 2-yard gain. J.D. Davis making the tackle on Mason again, and maybe a little bit of a decision here for Paul Johnson with 5 yards to go, and in comes the field goal unit.
J.D. Davis, 33, who's starting today in place of the injured Kendall Joseph, is having a heck of a first half. Flying around the field, another nice open field tackle, making the most of his opportunity here this afternoon.
Brenton King now going to attempt a field goal from 43 yards out. His long this year is 35, and he's going to hook this one to the left. A missed opportunity again for Georgia Tech, and a win for Brent Venables' defensive unit. 2 key words on the day: defense. Back after this. Cassidy, speaking of quarterbacks, we have a new one for Clemson. Trevor Lawrence, one of the top QBs in the country last year in high school, hands it off to Feaster on his first play. And keep in mind, this is a quarterback that the coaches say is further along than Deshaun Watson was as a freshman. He's from just 45 minutes outside of Atlanta, Cartersville, Georgia.
Well, there's a lot to like with Trevor Lawrence. His size, he's an NFL prototype at 6'6", 215+ pounds, can make every throw on the field.
Tosses it on 2nd and short. A good stick on Feaster by Johnson on the play, but Atlanta traffic is notoriously bad, folks. Partially because of its rapid growth since 2010. Look at those numbers, an increase of 60,000 in the city of Atlanta, and in the state of Georgia, they are plus 900. Sometimes that makes you spend an inordinate amount of time in your car sitting in traffic, Dusty. So all those people that came to watch Trevor Lawrence play might have had to wait a little bit longer than they wanted to as he completes the pass to Cornell Powell, his first completion.
I thought it was very telling when Jeff Scott, the co-offensive coordinator, spoke to us this week, and he said that Trevor Lawrence is talented as we've ever had here. And even kind of paused, he said, I don't know what that means. That includes Deshaun Watson. Wow. He said he's been impressed with his calm, how he's always collected, and very smart to go along with the big-time arm.
2nd and 9, hands it off here. That's Etienne. Etienne's going to set up a 3rd and about 2 to go. Alexander making the tackle on the play. There's a look at the offensive coordinator, Jeff Scott, who teams up with Tony Elliott to run the offense. A 7-yard gain on the play. Says that Lawrence operates with experience and a great grasp of the offense. See what he does here on 3rd and 2. Etienne will get the first down and then some. Breaks a couple of tackles, giving you lots of yards after contact. Well, last week the Tigers rolled over Georgia Southern 38-7, but had a little bit of a scare here in the 2nd quarter. Kelly Bryant tackled right there and knocked the breath out of himself there with that tackle after taking a shot to the chest. Explained it away as a little bit of a chest bruise. It was an item of discussion early in the week, but all recovered now. Lawrence in the ball game, hands it off to Adam Choice, the 3rd tailback to carry the ball so far in a deep stable of backs for Clemson.
They got a solid stable of backs. We've got a chance to see Travis Etienne as he enters the game. I think he has explosiveness, speed, and elusiveness in the open field as good as anybody in college football. The sophomore averaging over 7 yards a carry. Big weapon for this Clemson offense.
2nd and 8. Etienne to the left of Lawrence. Lawrence going to fire. Touchdown Tigers. Renfro.
There's just a different element with this offense when Trevor Lawrence comes into the game. The vertical passing game comes very much alive, and they become a two-dimensional football team that you've got to deal with. Nice job rolling out to his left, and he just puts a dime on Hunter Renfrow. Nice route by Hunter Renfrow. He's going to run the corner route, gets away from coverage, and Trevor Lawrence puts it on the money.
Hunter Renfrow, no stranger to big touchdown catches. Number 13 right there, caught the game-winning touchdown a couple of years ago in that college football playoff national title game. And Lawrence with the rope to Renfrow, and the first touchdown of the game for the Tigers. They lead when we return.
Love how Trevor Lawrence, as they roll him to his left, squares his shoulders up. Look at his eyes. He's waiting for Renfrow to come open, waiting for him to come open, and bam! Fires a bullet the corner of the end zone for a nice touchdown.
See what Marshall and this Georgia Tech offense can get going. They put it on the ground again and lose about 7 yards on first down, Molly.
Taquan Marshall was trying to encourage his O-line after their last drive, Mark. He said, we need to close. We're getting too close to be settling for field goals. This isn't a team you want to play catch up against. And he was so upset he brought over their head coach, Paul Johnson, to talk to the entire offense after their last drive.
Looking for a little bit of support. They need a lot of points. 2nd and 15. Marshall keeps it and is collared at the 21-yard line by Logan Rudolph. Gain of about 2 on the play. Sets up 3rd down and long. A very popular refrain, unfortunately, for Georgia Tech here in the first half.
Logan Rudolph, brother of former Oklahoma State quarterback Mason Rudolph, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And just the overall speed of this Clemson defense is too much for Georgia Tech right now. They have to deal with the defensive line who's getting a lot of penetration, and those linebacker safeties are roaming and getting to the football at great speed.
Marshall going to throw it. They broke off the pattern, and it should have been interception in and out of the arms of Mark Fields. Oh, he wants that one back. Malachi Carter stopped running inexplicably. And a blown opportunity for Clemson's defense. Any way you look at that.
Quarterback, wide receiver on 2 different pages on the outside. We're going to watch Malachi Carter, the true freshman. He's running an out route while Taquan Marshall is throwing a go ball. And in the end, it's a dropped interception by Mark Fields, one that, when he watches the film, they're not going to let him live that one down.
On the punt return, this is Rogers. Got a block and is pushed out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Yeah, Brent Venables surprisingly calm on the sidelines when looking at Fields as DB, explaining why he should have had it.
It was a gift, man. You can't say no to a gift. It was gift wrap. It was like Christmas morning. You wake up and there it is. And Mark Fields, sometimes when it's that easy, when it's right there at you, those are the toughest ones to catch, I guess.
You use that excuse too, huh?
I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough one to explain.
Lawrence hands it off to Adam Choice, who was shaken up a couple carries ago. Back in the ball game, picks up 2 on the play. Trevor Lawrence throwing a touchdown on the last series for Clemson. Kelly Bryant played the first 2 offensive sequences, and now it's Lawrence's turn.
One of the things we haven't mentioned about Lawrence, also a very good athlete that most people don't give him credit for.
Throws it wide open. Room service. Justin Ross, like a boss, touchdown. Doing that freshman thing. True freshman to true freshman. Lawrence to Ross. Cash it in, 53 yards.
It was a run-pass option. The cornerback's eyes were in the backfield. Watch the quarterback. His eyes are in the backfield. He's worried about the run game. No one there to account for the true freshman, Justin Ross. And it's a dash to the end zone. Very talented true freshman with an easy walk-in touchdown.
That was one of the fears, that Georgia Tech had some young guys on the back end of that defense, and unfortunately for them, it came to fruition. Justin Ross, the top player in the state of Alabama high school football last year in orange. Welcome back, everyone, to Bobby Dodd Stadium. Deafeningly silent right now outside of the people dressed in Clemson orange. It'll put you to sleep if you're a Georgia Tech fan right now, like asleep as in a knockout. Down a quick 21 points here with 7:05 to go in the first half. They'll take it 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. 1st and 10, and he hands it off to the first guy through, Jerry Howard. Gain of about one.
One thing this Clemson defensive line's doing, they're moving or stemming right before the snap. Okay, so they're lined up in a certain position, and right before the snap, they're going to move, which changes everything the offensive lineman is looking at. Watch these guys move right before snap. They're going to move call. You'll move over. Now, all of a sudden, the offensive line for Georgia Tech, they've got to reassess, rethink, and it's tougher for them to get a solid block and open up a hole.
There's another shift by that Clemson defensive front. And Marshall got about 3 yards, so if you're thinking too much, you're playing slow, right?
That's exactly right. You leave that little bit of doubt in the offensive lineman's hands, and when you move last minute, so you got linebackers stepping up, you're giving the offensive line just more things to think about. Then, on top of that, they will move when the snap happens. They will slant. They will move just to continue to make things difficult on this Georgia Tech offensive line and to help free up and keep clean the second-level linebacker.
Venables' defensive front seven doing a nice job here, pitching a shutout, a blitz off the edge, and they've got to Marshall on the sack. That was Trayvon Mullen with a corner blitz. And 4th down coming up for Georgia Tech again. There's a reason why Venables has won the Frank Broyles Award several years.
Well,
as the top coordinator.
He's as good as he gets in college football, having his team prepared, having them on edge, ready to play. He's dialing up blitzes on 3rd and long, knowing that Georgia Tech can't protect well, can't throw the football well down the field right now. Every call he's making seems to be working.
Arvin with a great punt back to Rogers. Rogers with an opportunity to return this. Good straight arm. Gets north-south and out to the 41-yard line. There's a flag down on the play. A 57-yard punt. Our official's microphone not working, but obviously against the punt return team. 4.5 minutes to go. Lawrence still in at quarterback. And sacked back at the 25-yard line, right at the line of scrimmage by Victor Alexander. You know, he can run, Lawrence, an underrated runner. In fact, he served notice early in his tenure at Clemson on a 40-yard touchdown run against the first-team defense in spring practice, in a spring game, that he could move a little bit, too. Tried to set up a screen, intercepted. Desmond Branch caught it off the back of Etienne. It was intended for Etienne. And Georgia Tech gets a gift working with a short field.
Well, he's a talented freshman, but he's still a freshman. They try to set up Etienne with the middle screen. He's going to turn around, and Lawrence throws it into his offensive lineman. It's Gage Cervenka, the offensive lineman. He throws it right in the back of his head, shoulder pad, ball bounces up, and a huge interception for Desmond Branch, and one that this Georgia Tech team desperately needed.
That's a Friday not top 10 coming up. On the handoff, clean hole up the middle for Howard. And Howard picked up 7 yards on 1st down. Time winding down here in the first half.
He rushed it, okay, with a screen pass. Allow it to have time. Allow it to set up, right? He rushed through it. He did not take his time. And in the end, he makes a massive freshman mistake. And Georgia Tech in prime real estate to try to punch one in.
It would be huge if Georgia Tech could get a score here. And Swinney teaching, coaching on the sidelines with his freshman quarterback. Marshall keeps it and falls forward to about right around the 14-yard line. Brought down by Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence is a mountain of a man. 6'4", 350. He'll be a first-round pick. We're going to go back to the interception. Right off his offensive lineman's back. And an easy gift for Desmond Branch.
Man, I've been telling my offensive lineman, get out of the way.
Get out the way.
3rd and 1. Marshall going to keep it and got the first down. Moving the chains with 2:34 to go. Okay, Family Ties. Charlie's Angels. That was a regular
day.
That was an ABC show, too. Jacqueline Smith, Farrah Fawcett.
I love me some friends.
Kate Jackson. You know, that was a very popular show.
Al Friends probably be at the top of my list. And Baywatch, obviously, for certain reasons as a young kid.
David Hasselhoff. Everybody wanted Hasselhoff's job. A lifeguard?
No doubt.
Come on, man. 1st and 10. Touchdown here would be huge for Georgia Tech. Marshall keeps it. Got an alley. Got himself a touchdown. With 2:08 to go, Georgia Tech on the board. That's his 5th rushing touchdown of the season and the 23rd of his career. That's why he's their leading rusher. Finally on the board. The extra point good, and it's 21-7.
We talk about how you defend the triple option, a dive player, a quarterback player, an alley player that's going to get to the pitch. And right now, 11 Isaiah Simmons was in no man's land. And it's a great read by Taquan Marshall. All right, let's take a look at Isaiah Simmons. In no man's land, by the way, fantastic block here to set it up. But nowhere to go. Taquan Marshall's going to wait and read him. Isaiah Simmons goes to the pitch. Taquan Marshall makes the right read. He tucks it up, and he gets in the end zone to get Georgia Tech on the board. Great read by Georgia Tech and by Taquan Marshall, and also nice job taking advantage of the turnover and cashing it in for points.
City of Atlanta. Powell back deep. Powell still on his feet and finally tackled at the 36. Not afraid of the big moment or the spotlight. Delivers a strike to Amari Rogers. Rogers came into the game, the team's leading receiver. Picks up a first down on the 11-yard gain.
I mean, that's a fantastic throw. From the far hash on a 10-yard out route, the timing was impeccable. Ball is out as Rogers is in his break. Excellent throw and catch on first down.
Lawrence overthrows his intended receiver, Hunter Renfro. Clemson has all 3 of its timeouts remaining with 1:49 to go. A pretty good opportunity to at least get in field goal range here, right?
It makes me think with kind of a 2-minute offense. That's why we see Trevor Lawrence stay out there to give you more of the vertical passing game. This is 4 straight series. We haven't seen Kelly Bryant since the opening 2 possessions.
Lawrence evading harm's way. Got a nice block and tiptoes out of bounds. Picked up the first down at the 43-yard line, an 11-yard sprint. There's that running ability. Don't sleep on his scrambling talent.
Nothing's available down the field. It's good coverage by Georgia Tech. Trevor Lawrence buys himself some time. Now in the open field, can pick him up and put him down pretty well. Good blocking outside by Travion Thompson.
The timing route complete again to Amari Rogers. Rogers, a favorite target of Lawrence and Bryant on the season. He is the son of T. Martin. That's right, that T. Martin, the former national champion quarterback at Tennessee, now the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at USC. Lawrence with time. Boy, into traffic, complete again to Renfro. Approaching a minute to go.
Georgia Tech brought both linebackers in the A-gaps. Good job of blitz protection by the Clemson offensive line. Trevor Lawrence stands in there tall. Find his slot receiver for a first down. Just looks so poised and comfortable back there in the pocket, Jonesy.
Get a little heat on Lawrence this time, and he wisely, with good discernment, throws it away. Good pressure by Santa Moore.
Watch Hunter Renfro go up. Says, I can jump. High points the football with two hands, and he gets the foot inbounds. What a career Hunter Renfro has put together, from walk-on to national champion. A star on this team at times, and seems like whether in third down situations, big moments, always comes up with a timely catch.
Already has his economics degree. Lawrence into traffic, incomplete.
Dangerous throw by Trevor Lawrence. Two receivers in the same area, both T. Higgins and Justin Ross. Very similar receivers, big in stature, but they wind up in the exact same area. Got to get some separation, got to be more spacing on the field, and Trevor Lawrence puts the ball in harm's way. Fortunately for him, he gets another crack as Georgia Tech unable to come down with the ball.
11th play of the drive coming up. Renfro back in the ball game. A clutch receiver through the years for the Tigers. 3rd and 10. Lawrence on the move. Completes it. First down to Amari Rogers. With 11 seconds to go, first and goal, and Sweeney quickly uses his next to last timeout. A 21-yard gain on the play. Amari Rogers with another big catch.
What is Trevor Lawrence once again getting outside the pocket? They're going to boot him to his right. He's going to just wait for something to open up. See Amari Rogers just sit there, find the soft spot in the coverage, and a strike delivered by Trevor Lawrence. We've seen him make the throws within the pocket. We've seen him outside the numbers, making throws on the move. Showing off the full package here in the first half.
Renfro and Higgins split to the bottom of your screen. Lawrence on the option. Fighting. Etienne. Touchdown Tigers. The irony of that call by Sweeney and Scott, and the touchdown. They beat him at the option game. For Etienne, that's his first touchdown catch of the season. Officially, that is a reception. The first of his career. And what a way to punctuate a productive first half for the Clemson Tigers. We're number 3 in the nation.
4 drives for Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdowns out of those 4 drives.
And it's 28-3 for Clemson. And that's the end of the first half of play. Sometimes Clemson guys go to the NFL. Some decide to stay. That's what Venables had to say about it. It's not about the funds. It's about the fun sometimes. There's an innocence around the program that makes it fun at Clemson. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. A benevolent sky spattering down on the city of Atlanta. And all the irradiance has belonged to Clemson so far. They have been shining on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. And they lead Georgia Tech 28-7 as we get started here in the third quarter play. And to make matters worse for Georgia Tech and better for Clemson, they will receive the kick here to begin the third quarter of play. Dabo Sweeney looking for his 4th They've won 3 consecutive ACC titles, looking for number 4, the heavy favorite in the ACC this year, and they haven't done anything to kill those predictions by a lot of the prognosticators.
Well, we've seen here today why. Unbelievably talented on both sides of the football. This defense has been dominant. Trevor Lawrence has stepped in and put together an unbelievable first half.
And the Tigers will take it 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Dusty, as we look at this Clemson team as they evolve, this is week 4. Trevor Lawrence continues to emerge as the storyline. 3 touchdowns in the first half of play, a career high, and he's still got a lot of work to go. The meter's still running with him.
Yeah, 4 possessions, 3 touchdown drives. He changes this offense, right? He gives him another element in the passing game. And we saw on display, whether it's from the pocket, get him outside the pocket. His first touchdown pass, he rolls to his left, squares his shoulders, and fires a strike. He's got the arm talent. He's got the athleticism. And it seems like, Jonesy, he is now the guy for this Clemson offense.
Kelly Bryant started the game, got the first 2 offensive series, and hasn't been back in the game since. The pass complete to Cornell Powell as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. A lot of Clemson to talk about. Lawrence 10 of 15 passing, 3 touchdowns, had that 1 pick. Georgia Tech, not a lot of offense to show as they ran the ball 32 of their 34 total plays. Lawrence, another completion to Powell on the edge. A little jet screen and a first down on the 11-yard gain. Lawrence throwing that ball with a lot of authority. There's Bryant on the sidelines. Mentioned the fact that he had the first 2 series and hasn't been back in since. Hand off to Etienne, still on his feet. Lots of yards after the initial contact, and Etienne into Georgia Tech territory, picking up 19 yards. And they're going fast. Back up the line of scrimmage.
Nice counter play, an outstanding vision by Etienne as he sees the cutback, runs the daylight, and a nice pickup.
Back it up to near the 40-yard line. That's Feaster. And Feaster makes it down just inside the 35. Picked up 7, got 7 back on that play. Second. That's Feaster again. First down and 10. Lawrence sold the fake. Up the middle. Feaster, touchdown, Tigers.
Big hole in the middle of that offensive line. And it's Feast or famine as Travis Feaster takes it into the end zone. Nice blocking up front. Very physical to start this second half. And the tailbacks of Clemson make this Georgia Tech defense pay.
For Feaster, that's the 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. The 11th of his career. And the beat goes on for the Clemson Tigers, led by Trevor Lawrence. Feaster broke 1 tackle and ran to daylight. Back after this.
We are back here in Atlanta, and at the half, I asked Georgia Tech head coach Paul Johnson what he needs to do to get his offense going. He said, first things first, we need to stay away from penalties and mistakes. At halftime, he put up all the numbers of their penalties and miscues on a big whiteboard to show his team that they are giving away this game. He said, we can't afford negative plays against a team like this. We need to do a better job also in pass protection. He wants to see more passing plays in this second half, Mark.
Yeah, getting that completion percentage up for Taquan Marshall has been a challenge all season. Marshall brought down at the 35-yard line. A very complex system they run here at Georgia Tech offensively, Dusty.
It is. So the running backs, we're going to have A-backs and B-backs, okay? Your B-back is the running back directly behind the quarterback. And that's your traditional running back, your dive back. Good size, tough physical runner, got that home run capability. And then your A-backs or your wings, the guys on the outside, the pitch guys. They're more of a slot receiver type. They've got speed, got a block on the edge, and the ability to catch the football.
Looking for a receiver on this one, almost intercepted. Intended for Jordan Mason, setting up the screen pass. Another incompletion for Taquan Marshall. It was tipped by Xavier Thomas.
Xavier Thomas all over the field as he started the second half. We haven't seen Austin Bryant, a true freshman. He's all over the place. They try to set the screen up. Taquan Marshall could not get that ball over Xavier Thomas. He gets his hands on it. And Christian Wilkins, he thought he might have had a chance to get himself a pick. Ball hits the dirt.
Now Clemson going to pin their earbacks and come with a little bit of heat. 3rd and long. Marshall throws it up. And incomplete at the 35-yard line. No flags on the play. A.J. Terrell defending well against Jalen Camp. And now Marshall 0 for 4 passing today. Another punting situation for Georgia Tech.
Pretty good pressure, and Taquan Marshall doesn't get his feet set. He's not comfortable in the pocket. He gets back there, he feels the pressure from Xavier Thomas, and he just fires a pass down the sidelines, out of bounds. Good coverage down the field by Clemson, and another empty possession for this Georgia Tech offense.
Amari Rogers back at his own 19-yard line. Good punt from Harvin. And Rogers with a fair catch at the 17-yard line. Timeout on the field after the 48-yard punt. Bryant on a predetermined quarterback run. Got across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. But football isn't about participation trophies, though, when it comes to championship-type programs like Clemson, right? It's a delicate balance.
It is a delicate balance, but I think it keeps all their guys engaged, right? They know if they put in the work, they will earn and they deserve playing time. And that's one thing that Dabo Swinney has been steadfast about. You do what we ask of you, you're going to earn your way onto the field. May not be a lot of time.
Bryant completes it down the seam to number 18, T.J. Chase, for another Clemson first down.
So, yeah, championship level, no doubt, but what it does, it keeps everybody in the fight. It keeps everybody engaged, and also, while you're getting these guys valuable reps, maybe before they should, you're developing talent. So when those seniors graduate, those guys go to the NFL, that next crop, they're up and they're ready to go.
It's been working because Coach Swinney has tremendous sustainability of his success at Clemson. 14-1, 14-1, 12-2. Last 3 years. The handoff to Adam Choice. I thought it was interesting, Dusty, when he told Molly, you and I, that I've never signed a junior college player, underscoring the pertinence of development in the program. 13 true freshmen have played. You alluded to the development in the system.
He said no shortcuts, development. We want these kids right out of high school. We want to mold them, we want to shape them, and we want them to understand what Clemson football is all about. And to say it's worked is an understatement.
Bryant downfield, complete at the 20-yard line. Good comeback catch by Chase. And Bryant looking pretty efficient right now with Lawrence on the sidelines.
He said it's very intentional how we got here to the top of the mountain in college football. And as we show the graphic with 13 true freshmen, Dabo Swinney also said he thinks this might be his most talented class yet. And that's really saying something considering the amount of quality talent they've got on this roster.
First down and 10. After the 14-yard gain, Bryant hands it off to Choice, and Choice picks up about 5 yards. Coach said, we have a windshield mentality. And I thought that was an interesting analogy. He said, it's about the windshield. It's about what's in front of you, not behind you, not the rear view mirror.
And my favorite thing that Dabo Swinney told us, guys, is that he said the perfect example of our program is our 5-star quarterback, Deshaun Watson, throwing the game-winning touchdown in the national championship to our former walk-on, Hunter Renfrow. He's all about developing his players.
Yeah, that pretty much says it all, Molly.
Yeah, and he told us, you know, from 5 stars to walk-ons, everyone matters, and these guys really feel that. They feel important, and Dabo Swinney's done a great job of that.
First down and goal. Great job, Mollietta. Put a period on it. It's working.
It's working and some. Dabo was a walk-on. Jeff Scott was a walk-on. Tony Elliott was a walk-on. And even Brent Venables at Kansas State were a walk-on. So all these coordinators and coaches, they understand, and they've got these players to really buy in.
Etienne with the touchdown. I tell you what, he's no walk-on. That's 5-star type talent, even if he wasn't rated a 5-star. And Etienne with the touchdown.
And a really impressive drive by Clemson. Running the football. Good to see Kelly Bryant getting outside the pocket, making a couple of throws at the play-action pass, hit a pass up the seam, got outside the pocket, and then we've seen now in the second half, Clemson really dominating the line of scrimmage and imposing their will, being able to run the football.
Etienne with his 5th rushing touchdown of the season, the 18th of his career already as a sophomore. And welcome back, everyone, to ESPN College Football presented by Walmart. Clemson dominating Georgia Tech 42-7. Here in the third quarter, Mark Jones alongside Dusty Dvorak and Molly McGrath, who began the afternoon with us, riding into Rambling Wreck. Marshall to pass. Trying to make something out of nothing downfield. And caught for the first down at the 36-yard line. Found one of his receivers, Clinton Lynch, and a late flag on the play. Back at the 26-yard line. This could be a targeting.
Personal foul, targeting, number 43, defense.
For Chad Smith, the problem, he hits him up high. He doesn't use the crown of his helmet. He doesn't lower his head, but he hits Taquan Marshall above the head or neck area, right? He's got to lower his hit zone. He's got to go for the numbers, the chest, the midsection. They're trying to get rid of hits to the head, especially on the quarterback. Whether you like it or you don't like it, that's going to be called every time in college football.
And for what it's worth, he'll miss the first half of next week's game against Syracuse. Orange and Dino Babers running hot right now. Big win last week at home against Florida State. Jerry Howard on the carry. Huggins on the stop. And guys are jacking each other down there. That was Parker Braun, the leader on that offensive line for Georgia Tech. He'll have to come out because his helmet came off.
He's saying there was hands in the face. My helmet got ripped off.
After the play, personal foul, number 36, defense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal, first down.
And if that's the case, he gets to stay in, doesn't he?
Yes.
By
correct.
rules?
Absolutely. Judah Davis put his hands up. You did wrong, Judah. You know you did. A little pushing and shoving, mushes the face. I like the reaction. He threw the mouthpiece out. He's ready to go, Parker Braun. He's a good player, man. He's physical, strong, by far their best offensive lineman. He said when he came to Georgia Tech, I just want to fire off the ball and hit some people. He didn't like that RPO offense, mixing it up there in the trenches.
Taquan Marshall keeps it. Nice little spin move inside the 5 down to the 2-yard line with 2:10 to go in the third quarter. Johnson on the tackle for Clemson. 7-yard gain on the play.
It's a good read by Taquan Marshall. Cuts it up just inside the tackle. A nice pickup.
The sense that tempers are running a little hot down there.
Clemson, first charge timeout.
A little chippiness down there. 73, Zach Quinney getting into the mix.
Used to do a little bit of that, right?
Bad things go on down there at the bottom of the pile, Jonesy. You don't even want to know.
Second and goal for Daquan Marshall. Howard in the backfield. They toss it to the edge. That's Cottrell. And he got into the end zone, extending that ball. A spirited run for the touchdown.
Tried that toss play a couple of times today. They've had no success. A nice block on the edge. Clinton Lynch, the A-back.
Nathan Cottrell, that's his first rushing touchdown of the season, the first of his career. And the extra point good. It's 42-14. 1:43 to go.
Okay, so give you an idea real quick. The A-backs right here. Here's your A-backs. That's going to be your slot receiver. And here's your B-back. It's an outstanding job blocking on the edge by Clinton Lynch. Those A-backs got to be able to block. Perimeter players. See, Clinton Lynch gets the key block. Cottrell reads it, gets outside, and walks in for a touchdown.
Great speed on the edge there. That's funny. Daquan Marshall actually played backup A-back before becoming the starting quarterback. On the return, this is Powell. And Powell takes it out to the 30-yard line, first down and 10. Feaster in the backfield. They fake the jet sweep, and Feaster between the tackles out to the 38-yard line, brought down by Victor Alexander. And that's going to do it for the third quarter. When you win, it's fun. I mean, it's fun for everybody. Mascots, quarterbacks, backups, coordinators, everybody in orange. Just feeling real nice right now. Back after this.
It may be a bit of a lopsided game in the fourth quarter, but Clemson's players are still very active and engaged on the sidelines. In that last break, we had defensive tackle Christian Wilkins encouraging their offensive line, going over blocking techniques. I saw freshmen like Justin Ross giving feedback to fifth-year senior. Sweeney's message to us, everyone matters. You can tell they're working together, Mark.
And a motivated crew with a handoff to Dixon again. And Dixon stopped up right around the line of scrimmage. Bryant started the game on the right. Lawrence came in and played most of the game after the first two series. And right now, Chase Bryant getting an opportunity. Now, they like to say if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any, but not the case clearly with Clemson.
They're so talented around the quarterback on both sides of the ball. You feel like either one of these quarterbacks can get W's and get this team exactly where they want to be. But I do think that the ceiling is much higher with 16, the true freshman, that we were told has a golden arm.
Bryce into traffic and picked off by the safety, Malik Rivera. And Rivera thinking about the end zone. Stepped out of bounds first, though. The pass off the hands are intended for Justin Ross. And Rivera, the grad transfer from Wofford, with his second pick of the season.
Bryce makes a throw he probably wish he had back. He's trying to hit Ross on the post. Triple coverage. Ball's tipped. And Malik Rivera, the Wofford grad transfer with his second pick in as many weeks, was a saving grace to this defense. Had experience in this defense, a good tackler, knows how to get everybody lined up, get the proper checks, and here he comes up with his second turnover of the season.
Tobias Oliver still in at quarterback. Hands it off to Howard. And Howard picked up about 2 yards on the play. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summaries. Some of the cogent, pertinent numbers on the afternoon. Trevor Lawrence, 142 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, and a pick in somewhat limited time. He was dropping dimes like a bank teller today. I mean, he had it working. Good spin move by Oliver. And he falls forward for about 3. Pinckney making the tackle for Clemson.
Coach Venables still bringing linebackers. They bring both linebackers in the A and B gap. A lot of penetration. It's a good job by the quarterback, Oliver, just to get out of that and get any productive yardage. Nowhere for him to run.
The get-back coach there,
he's in great position.
How many times do you think he does that per game where he pulls Coach Venables back for a game? Wow, big hit. 4 times every play.
Guys, I noticed from the very first defensive play of the game, Coach Venables needed to be pulled back onto the sideline. He was excited from the jump, and my favorite thing that Dabo Swinney told us is that he has an alter ego named Vinny, and Vinny doesn't remember what he says or does on game day. He only remembers the mistakes that his players has made.
I've met Vinny a few times.
Oh, yeah.
I know Vinny really well. He's a heck of a coach. As good as it gets, man. He cares about his players, passionate about the game of football. It's who you want to play for.
Oliver under some heavy heat here. It came after him. What a catch by Lynch. Clinton Lynch with a nice move inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal, Georgia Tech. A tremendous grab by Clinton Lynch. And a 23-yard pickup.
It was a nice job by Tobias Oliver just to get outside the pocket. He was under heavy duress by Balin Spector. He evades the pressure, keeps the play alive, and he finds Clinton Lynch with the left-handed, one-handed grab, and he stays in bounds and gets inside the 10.
Back here in Atlanta where the Tigers are up big, and Dusty and Mark, get this. Clemson is allowed to travel all 72 players, and I have it confirmed. They have played all 72 of the guys that they traveled here. Talk about developing your guys and rewarding them with playing time.
Well, it's a real meritocracy that exists at Clemson. So if you do your work, your reward will come. And that's part of the philosophy Coach Swinney has embarked upon at his time at Clemson. All 72 guys.
It's the culture. You don't see that across the country. You just don't. It doesn't happen. And this is something that Dabo Swinney, since he's become the head coach, it's something that he believes in. It's something that they do year in, year out, week in, week out. If you do what you're supposed to do, you will earn the right, and you deserve a chance to get on the field. Whether it be 10 plays, whether it be 20 plays, you're going to get your opportunities, and I can't say how much that does for guys to stay engaged, to stay a part of the team, to stay a part of the fight, to continue to compete, and then overall just developing your entire roster. No, but not many people in college football do it as well as Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers.
About 6.5 minutes to go. Talking about it earlier during our prep time, Clemson might be the closest thing to Alabama right now in college football when it comes to consistent dominance and success. Throwback, wide open, Oliver, touchdown. Hey, Clinton Lynch in the end zone makes it 42-20 with the extra point to follow. A well-executed pass play, by the way, by Tobias Oliver.
I like the play call. Roll the quarterback to the right. Sneak Clinton Lynch, the A-back, all the way back across the field. Nobody runs with him. He's wide open for an easy touchdown. And it gives the Georgia Tech fans that are still here something to cheer about.
That's the second touchdown catch of the season for Lynch, and the 11th of his career. It's a 3-touchdown game with 6:15 to go. Clemson still up comfortably when we return to Atlanta. Bobby Dodd Stadium at historic Grant Field, going back to 1913, amongst the oldest on-campus stadiums in the country. Davis Wade Stadium, Mississippi State, Nippert Stadium, Cincinnati, Vaught Hemingway at Ole Miss, and not many of those aforementioned ones lie right in the middle of a major city like this. You know, where you got the headquarters of major Fortune 500 corporations right down the street, which is, by the way, a great selling point in recruiting for Georgia Tech. Their players have some great internships in the summertime. If you talk about wanting to work for Fortune 500 companies after your football career is done. Lawrence back in the ball game, hands it off to Etienne. Interesting that Lawrence is back in the ball game. Etienne picks up 5 on the play, and Nick Saban undefeated against his former assistant coaches. Still, after that impressive win today. Etienne again. Still on his feet. He has broken a ton of tackles today and broke a couple more, making it down to the 43-yard line. Picked up 29.
And you would talk about a running back that can burst through the hole. Off the left side, they open up a little sliver. Watch the burst through the hole and through contact. Great balance as he stays on his feet. And an outstanding pickup on first down.
Feaster in the backfield. Lawrence fires a strike to Amari Rogers, and Rogers run out of bounds right around the 38-yard line. Tell you what, it's a good sign that his jersey is still clean, and that's what he looked like pregame. Those long flowing locks.
Some good-looking lettuce on the top of that head, man.
that's a VO5 commercial right there.
Well coiffed made.
2nd and 6.
Hey.
Handoff is to Feaster. Getting to the edge, picking up another first down. And run out of bounds with 4.5 minutes to go.
Nice block by Big John Simpson. Pull it out in front, the left guard, paving a way for Feaster on a nice pickup.
Lawrence single coverage, found his man, Higgins, touchdown Tigers.
T. Higgins is an elite talent. 6'4", 210, long, and he goes up and gets the football. Simple run-pass option. Ball put on the money by Trevor Lawrence out in front where he can finish running with the ball, and he fights into the end zone. Nice pitch and catch for the Clemson offense.
Made it look real easy, Dusty. Interesting about Higgins. Tries to model his game after A.J. Green, of all people. Green, of course, in the league. That's a great guy to model your game after. If you're Higgins. Timeout on the field. Long hair don't care. Because right now it's all Tigers. Trevor Lawrence.
Performing in the military at a high level transfers to football, especially as a quarterback. You've got to be able to process a lot of information very fast, whether you're in a jet or you're a quarterback on the field processing defenses.
Being in a position of leadership and helping to work towards a common goal and helping to develop young men in something that they may or may not see that they can be.
One of our, I think it was Molly said it earlier, maybe you said it. I'm glad we got a dude named Joe Speed,
Yes.
who is a captain in the Marines defending our country. 2 sharp guys, Craig Candetto as well, Georgia Tech quarterbacks, B-backs coach, former fighter pilot. Did I ever tell you I wanted to be an F-16, F-14 Tomcat fighter?
Is that right?
Yeah, but I'm colorblind, so I couldn't pass the.
What will your call
college
sign
thing.
be?
Black Angel. something cool. I don't know. Give me a couple plays to think about it. Oliver sacked back at the 23-yard line.
Take a look back at Trevor Lawrence's last touchdown. Play action pass. Watch the safety, Malik Rivera, creep up. When he creeps up, no one's in the middle of the field, and the quarterback has exactly what he wants. T. Higgins on the post, perfect pass, and a touchdown for the Clemson offense. That's a freshman understanding that safety's coming down, middle of the field's wide open. He's got the arm, and he's got the target outside for an easy pitch and catch.
Well, the move paid off to put Lawrence back in the ballgame at quarterback. Oliver pivoting, spun around, did a little Houdini act, and brought down inside the 40 at the 37-yard line in a spirited run by Tobias Oliver. Can't help but wonder if this is a little bit of an audition, perhaps, with Marshall struggling in the first 3 games this year and struggling here this afternoon.
Any opportunities in audition, right? I mean, this Georgia Tech offense, we've talked about it. They've had issues, self-inflicted. They shot themselves in the foot all throughout the year. So if Tobias Oliver can come in and show some type of improvement, get himself an opportunity.
That was Mason, picked up about 2 yards. That was a 39-yard run by Tobias Oliver. There's a look at Taquan Marshall on the sidelines. Hasn't played since the early part of the 3rd quarter. 2.5 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Clemson going to improve to 4-0 for the 4th consecutive season, barring a bigger turnaround than Paul on the road to Damascus. That was a turnaround. I don't see it happening here today. 2nd and 9. A few fake pitches, and Oliver down at the 36-yard line. Arizona State upset last week. Herm Edwards squad against San Diego State in Pac-12 Mountain West action as Oliver is brought down. I'm expecting a good performance from Washington tonight. They played a tough game on the road to start the season against Auburn, and what otherwise was a home game for Auburn right here in the city of Atlanta.
They had a tough, hard-fought win last week going to Utah. It's a good football team.
Yeah,
Chris
very
Peterson
good.
has.
Very solid. Well coached. 4th and 3. Oliver escapes one tackler and then tripped up by the turf monster at the 36. And the Tigers will take over on downs.
Well, we've talked a lot today about the defensive line of Clemson. Get to know this young man. Number 3, Xavier Thomas, the true freshman. You see the explosiveness. Now, he doesn't make the tackle, but the penetration, the ability to get off the football, shed blocks, has been on display all this afternoon. And with the talent he possesses and being mentored by the likes of Cleveland Farrell, Austin Bryant, Christian Wilkins, bright future for that young man.
Tell you what, Coach Sweeney keeps getting those extremely talented guys. And Xavier Thomas, another one. 54 seconds to go. Bryce back in the ball game at quarterback. Lawrence back on the sidelines. Lawrence is going to finish the day 13 of 18 passing, Dusty, 176 yards, and a career-high 4 touchdown passes.
To me, he's the guy moving forward. I don't know if he'll be the starter, but I think if they get into situations where they need to score points, if they're behind, I think Trevor Lawrence gives this offense another dimension and makes them extremely difficult to deal with.
Right now, Bryce hands it off again to his tailback, Dixon. Lawrence and Brian on the sidelines. I'll tell you what, Trevor Lawrence got 99 problems, but a touchdown ain't one.
Neither is good hair.
No.
This is a legitimate, very good football team that Dabo Sweeney has on his hands. This Clemson Tiger team, both sides of the ball. Brent Venables has that defense functioning at extremely high level, and the offense, especially under the tutelage of Trevor Lawrence, is going to be difficult for just any defense in college football to deal with.
And a great homecoming for Lawrence from nearby Cartersville, Georgia, just 45 minutes up the highway. He'll be greeting his friends and family members after the game. Jerry and Amanda, his mom and dad. 49-21 the final, Clemson. Stay tuned for College Football Scoreboard next on ABC. For Molly, Dusty, our entire talented crew behind the camera you never get a chance to see. I'm Mark Jones. Right now we send you to the studio.